Well, good morning. This is the Paradigm Shift, and this is Jeff Johnson. Hopefully we're going out live over live stream. It doesn't show, but I don't know what the heck that was. I just got some sort of feedback from somewhere.
That was me. Sorry, Jeff. I forgot to mute that part.
Oh, okay. Can you check and see if I'm going out live over live stream? It doesn't show me connected.
No, I just disconnected. So you are broadcasting here on YouTube, though.
I am on YouTube. I realize that. I just want to make sure that it connected to Radio Co. It shows me recording, and it does not say that I connected. So I'm not sure that I'm even broadcasting on Radio Co. So just go to the app, please, and check that. If not, I don't want to do. I have no idea. So anyway, it'll be on YouTube recording, and it'll play live later. At any rate. So
you might have to hit the play button again on butt.
It's going to make me stop everything and hit play again. So, and then it'll stop recording and everything. So I don't know what we're going to do with that.
Well, yeah, you're not connected, Jeff, because it's you didn't change the schedule.
I don't have to. I have live anytime. I can go live anytime I want. And that's why it should have connected. That's why I don't understand what's up. Anyway, okay, you're gonna on YouTube. You're gonna get to see this whole thing get all done again. I have to rechange. I have to change everything here.
Only on YouTube do you get the behind-the-scenes shop talk included with your vision.
All right, let's try this again. All right. Now, in about 10 seconds, hopefully. Okay, it says I'm recording again. It should go live here now. Oh, the joys of live radio. Let me see here. I need to go here, and let's go here. And I am on the air. I show it now. Okay. Well, here, let's do this again. Because I love Brian Setzer Band. So well, good morning. This is the Paradigm Shift, and this is Jeff Johnson. Hopefully we're going out live over live stream. It doesn't show, but I don't know what the heck that was. I just got some sort of feedback from somewhere.
That was me. Sorry, Jeff. I forgot to mute that part.
Oh, okay. Can you check and see if I'm going out live over live stream? It doesn't show me connected.
No, I just disconnected. So you are broadcasting here on YouTube, though.
I am on YouTube. I realize that. I just want to make sure that it connected to Radio Co. It shows me recording, and it does not say that I connected. So I'm not sure that I'm even broadcasting on Radio Co. So just go to the app, please, and check that. If not, I don't know what to do. I have no idea. So anyway, it'll be on YouTube recording, and it'll play live later. At any rate. So
you might have to hit the play button again on butt.
It's going to make me stop everything and hit play again. So, and then it'll stop recording and everything. So I don't know what we're going to do with that.
Well, yeah, you're not connected, Jeff, because it's you didn't change the schedule.
I don't have to. I have live anytime. I can go live anytime I want. And that's why it should have connected. That's why I don't understand what's up. Anyway, so you can buy that and put it away for Katrinas or those Sandys or earthquakes or wildfires in California. So there's always a way to have food to put aside. That we didn't talk about as another good possible gift for Christmas is I was thinking about these this morning while I was getting ready for the show, and so that's why these are just fresh on my mind. A good pack. You need a good backpack. I have two different sizes. I have a get-home bag, which is probably just gonna. It's a little bit big. It's about a day pack, maybe a little bigger than a day pack. And I put enough in there to get me home. I have enough food and stuff for 3 days. I also carry water filtration in there, so it's like a 3-day bag. Then I have my big pack, and it's a ruck. It's a military ruck, and it weighs about 65, 70 pounds, but it carries everything. It's for multiple days. So you get a couple good packs. One small one to keep in your vehicle, and then one in case if you're on a trip. Like I just went to Philadelphia. Why I started out here, I have no idea. It's just live radio, so I can do this. So like the other day, I went to Philadelphia. I don't think I actually told the story. Since you're in here, Daniel, I'll tell you the story completely. I went to Philadelphia. On the way down, my check engine light comes on. I have a diesel, and because government got involved in automaking. And put all kinds of regulations. We now have all this emissions crap on these diesel trucks, which is completely unnecessary. Diesel burns much cleaner than gasoline. I realize out there people always used to see these black smoke clouds and stuff, and that was because these trucks weren't burning all their fuel. They weren't running properly. You watch most of these trucks today, they do not do that because they're much more efficient. They burn much cleaner. Now we have all this emission crap. So on the way down, I'm almost to Philadelphia, and my check engine light comes on, and I get the dreaded warning that I have 175 miles to reduce speed. So that means I can't drive highway speeds. So now I have a vehicle that may not get me home. Okay, so it's a little different. The world hasn't come to an end, and I'm not going to have to walk home if it really came to that. But in my truck, because I was traveling a couple 100 miles from home, I had my full ruck, and I had a carbine. So I had my carbine. I had multiple magazines. I had my battle belt. So I had my tactical holster for my SIG, and I had everything I needed to walk home if that became a necessity. Had the crap hit the fan, I could have survived and walked home. Because I have family here. It's important for me to get here because they're going to need all the hands they can here if the crap actually hit the fan. Now, that's, who knows? With North Korea shooting missiles, lobbing missiles, saying they're going to lob missiles at us, it doesn't mean they have to put a nuke on our soil. They just have to put it over our soil to cause lots of problems. So, Daniel, before you go, don't go. Just 1 second. I'll go to the other end of the story because on the way home, I'm coming back up the Northeast Extension, and Daniel left. I told him not to leave, but he left. Okay. Anyway, so I see all this dirt everything flying, garbage, debris, everything. And I look, and there's a tractor trailer going down along the road in the dirt. And then you pull up next to it, and I pull over to the side. I got through all the debris that was in the road, and I pull over, and the guy opens the door, and he's throwing his bags out. And I said, "Are you okay?" He gave me the thumbs up, so I knew I didn't need to stop and give him any assistance. But the fact of the matter was, had I been one tractor trailer back, I would have been sitting there for hours because there was no traffic moving. I was the last car. So I'm driving up the Pennsylvania Turnpike, look in my mirror, and there is not one car on the road. I am the last car on the northbound lane. So Daniel dismissed the story. But he took out all the guardrail, destroyed his truck. I don't know how he wasn't hurt, but he wasn't. So anyway, that was an interesting trip. And I got home, obviously, without any hitch. But, you know, those are just some of those things that we were talking about the other day. It kind of just came up into my mind that, you know, really, if you are looking for a good gift, a backpack, good backpacks, quality, don't buy cheap, buy some quality, because there is a difference. And then you can just put some of that food that you buy, some of that freeze-dried food, because it's very light. You can carry a lot. And, you know, that's definitely water filtration, so you can drink water because you need water. So anyway, I know Suzanne's hiding in the background. I'm sure she would chime in on that if she wanted to. Now, the other day, before I get to Patrick Henry, the other day Suzanne and I talked shortly on her show about natural versus civil rights. There was a big discussion in the social media world about this discussion that we don't have natural rights because we don't live in quote unquote nature. We're not living in the natural world. I don't know what this is if we're not in the natural world, but that didn't make sense either. But we live in a civil society, and so therefore, because we live in a civil society, government gives civil rights. Oh, how fraught with danger that is. And we're living it, watching what's going on in the world today. I'm going to come back to the demand by so many and the NRA for a Second Amendment right. What they're demanding is a civil right. They're demanding that government give them their Second Amendment right. We'll come back to that one. But this morning, our good friend Mark Kreslins had a post saying that 2 hours from now, the abortion mill clinics in Oklahoma were going to open. How do we have legal murder of soon-to-be-born human beings? And, you know, honestly, I heard yesterday out there news, some liberal claiming that the woman has a right to do whatever she wants with her body. And I sat there and going, yeah, if she wants to commit suicide, it's her body. She can commit suicide. But what she's doing is killing another human being's body. It's not her body. It's someone else's body she's killing. If she was killing herself, that's one thing. But she's not. She's killing somebody else. That's another human being that's being murdered. But somehow, because we have civil rights, and that's what this is the big argument. If we had natural rights, Jefferson talks about them in the Declaration of Independence. The very first right he talks about as an unalienable right endowed by our Creator is life. If we don't have a right to life, naturally, we have civil rights created by a government to murder life. to end life. Okay, so now grandma isn't productive anymore. She's costing a lot of money because she now has to have beta blockers. She has to have diuretics. She has to have you name the medication she needs, and it's costing lots of money every month for government to keep grandma alive. So now, hey, let's just get rid of grandma. Let's have euthanasia because, heck, they're not producing. They aren't really good humans anymore. So let's have a civil right for euthanasia. Junior can kill grandma because it's getting too expensive to keep grandma alive. Let's have a civil right for that. Okay. Oh, you're in a car accident. Now you're in a wheelchair. Now you're requiring a lot of work, medical expenses. You're now not going to be as productive in society. Let's have a civil right because you're not productive now. Let's have euthanasia for those that are in accidents and that are now paraplegics or quadriplegics because it's a civil right for everyone else not to have to pay for that person. You see the idiocracy of demanding anything from government that's called a right. Now you're demanding a right to medical health and health care, health insurance. So now the government controls what health care you get. And so that's how you end up with the civil right to get rid of people that are in wheelchairs. I mean, this is the natural progression of this. So we have now a civil right to homosexual marriage. And if you don't knuckle under to their demand for not tolerance, but acceptance of this lifestyle, you will be destroyed. You don't bake a cake, they'll destroy you because your actual right to worship your God, that's in any way you feel fit. So now we have civil rights being created to destroy the natural order. The natural order is one man, one woman. It's been that way since creation. Yet, we have to have a civil right to destroy the natural order. Okay, let's have this civil right. A man wants to act like a woman. So we have to have a civil right. Government has to create some right out of thin air for some pervert to go in the bathroom with my wife or my daughter, or your wife and your daughter, or with Suzanne. Let's create a civil right so that some pervert's in there with our children. A male pervert's in with our daughters. I'm going to finish this rant I'm on at this moment. So let's get back to where I started off with, this demand for a Second Amendment right, a civil right given to us by government to have national reciprocity. So now we're demanding that government give us our Second Amendment right, our civil right. Not our natural right that the framers were protecting, but our civil right that we have, that government has to give us. Well, once they have the right to give it to us, they have the right to take it away from us. And if you think that this national reciprocity is going to lead to all this wonderful unicorns and rainbows, and we're all going to live happily ever after, you are living in a fantasy world. Because now, and Schumer and Feinstein have already attached gun control legislation to this, it's only going to get worse. Because once it's passed, then the states like California, New York, Massachusetts, the ones with very, very restrictive gun laws, are going to say, you can't force us in New Jersey, because they're already talking about. Suzanne was talking about that article the other day with what is he, Senator Menendez or Congressman? I don't care, whatever he is. He wants to arrest anyone that comes in carrying it concealed with an out-of-state permit. So let's say what's going to happen as soon as they take it to a federal court, and it's going to go to the Ninth Circuit. San Francisco is going to be the one to sue the federal government. And what the Ninth Circuit gives us every lousy, bad decision that there ever could be. Because their goal is socialism, Marxism, control, not liberty. What did Patrick Henry say was the primary goal of government? To protect our liberty. What do we have today? We have people demanding their civic rights. And government is going to control and eventually take them away. So New York State has basically a gun registration because on the back of their pistol permits, their concealed carry permits, is a listing of every gun you own. They have it in their database. Every pistol you own is on your carry permit. Do you think that the federal government is going to go, oh, okay, yeah, well, we'll take that one. Okay, now California is a may issue, so we'll take that, and we're going to restrict it. Oh, New York has a 7-round magazine limit. Okay, so now there's a 7-round magazine limit. I challenge you. Find a pistol mag for a Glock 17, a SIG P320 with a 7-round limit. Find one. So once we open this door to them controlling all this, they will limit our natural right to self-preservation. This is the danger of talking about civil rights as opposed to natural rights, because inherently I have it in my human nature, because I am a human being, to have the right to self-preservation, to preserve the life of my children, my nieces, nephews, my mom. I have that right because I'm a human being, not because government gives it to me. These rights predated this stupid constitution that's brought us to this place in our lives. Suzanne, I'm sorry. I've been on a roll, and I know you've turned your mic on and off a couple of times. Go for it.
Well,
let me take a breath.
It is your show, after all. But I did want to mention a few other things that we haven't discussed that they could come up when they legislate from the bench and come up with a national standard so everybody could be safe, of course, is some of the more draconian things that have come out of California was a stamp on all ammo. So every round could be traceable. Ammo registration now in California, you have to have a background check and a card for ammo. So the ammo, you're supposed to retrofit your firearm with something that would stamp the ammo. So every piece, if they find it at a crime scene, they can identify who at least the purchaser was, never mind who stole the ammo. Somebody could grab the case, the shell, at a range, indoor ranges. You see that they're swept up everywhere. Somebody could grab a few of those and scatter those about and give some information, some evidence there that would be misleading. Also look at smart gun technology. They're talking about wearing a special bracelet. Your gun can only fire if that individual is wearing that bracelet. That's a technology that's been discussed. I think they even have some on the market. Maybe they would make that mandatory if you're going to carry conceal, so it can't be taken away from you and having somebody else fire it.
Yeah, just a thought on that. I was just thinking, while you were saying that, I was thinking about it. So you have a bracelet that's going somehow to speak to the firearm.
Mm-hmm.
So what's to stop government from having a kill switch? Because they've already proven they can take control at a moment's notice. The TV, internet, and
your vehicle,
telephone, telephone, and the vehicles. They have the shutdowns. They can shut down a vehicle. So they've already proven they have the technology to do all this. So they could disable your firearm.
Absolutely.
So and I have no idea that's disabled.
Yeah, wouldn't it be great for them to require this? I mean, we're getting a little bit out there, but who would have foretold all these gun restrictions and insane laws that we have now? So I don't think this is tinfoil hat. This is not paranoia. That yes, what they can require, they can also disable. So also on a more immediate front would be, you have to consider some states require no permits whatsoever to either conceal carry or open carry. So what could happen next? Well, now since states have to honor each other's, we're just going to do away with what they call constitutional carry. That really irks me, but it's the term that everybody can relate to, where you don't have to have a permit to carry conceal. Well, they'll either do away with that, or what you should do is just not conceal carry in other states if you don't have that silly permit. And then maybe they'll say, and by the way, while we're at it, we're just going to get away with this open carry, because if you open carry and you don't need a permit, well, then by golly, we can't really track you. We don't know who you are. So I wanted to just chime in on that.
Right. And, that's the big problem, is that's what I was getting at with the whole rent, is the fact that if you're going to give up your natural rights to demand civil rights, then you are opening the door for government to control your rights.
The other thing on that, when we were having that debate online, I had said, what is my right to life? And the response was, that is a civil right. Well, I want to refer you to a article, or not an article, but a video. It was The Twilight Zone. And Mark Kreslins posted it the other day, and I shared it as well. And it was called, Are You Obsolete? And a tribunal of government authorities was having a trial for a citizen to determine whether or not he was still relevant in society. And the episode was called, Are You Obsolete? And they determined, because he was a mere librarian, that he was obsolete. So his right to life was no longer a natural right, as it had evolved or devolved into a civil right. The rights that the government did grant him, the authoritarian figures said that he had the right to choose the manner of his execution and the timing, so long as it was within 48 hours. I think that's a really, really illustrative example of the difference between natural and civil rights, and how important it is to get them right. When we go into my show, I'm going to continue this conversation, and you can join me, and I'm going to send you a link to an article from fee.org, and that's free Foundation for Economic Education. I love that website. To me, fee.org and Mises.org are both what people should be listening to. Get off these silly, mainstream media, Fox, even Breitbart sites are getting a little silly, but you're going to really learn something. And I'm going to send you this link right away. So I'll let you go on with your show.
All right. Well, it's 9:30. I'm going to take a break.
Okay.
I just blasted through 20 after. I'm only going to do one break. I might do two. I don't know. It depends how I feel. I really did not prepare terribly much for the show today. I didn't think I was going to do one, but then you said so, and you asked me, said something about following my show, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll do a show.
One of the things I'm
ahead.
learning is that the less prepared I am, the better I do. When I am so prepared, I find myself getting hung up. Am I going to miss some of the stuff I prepared for? And so I kind of I think we speak more from the heart and can adjust to whatever comes up at the time. So anyway, I'll let you take your break.
Yeah. Well, it was just, and this morning just turned out, it just was very strange. The first 5 minutes, it didn't connect to Radio Co this morning. And I don't know if that was because Daniel was still connected. I'm not quite sure what happened. I have live anytime, so I can just break in and go live. So when we're playing our replays and stuff, I can break in at any time. So if I'm home and there's some breaking news, I may just jump in and we can talk about breaking news at any time.
I like that idea.
Yep. Anyway, this is the paradigm shift. Yeah, I know. It's what I want to play because it's our friend Robin's. It has Robin's. And we need to change all those because she has changed her name. What's the new name of what's she under now? I know it's still under the old one so this still works, but she has a new name.
Back at the Cabin. It's a line of body care products.
Okay, so it's Back at the Cabin, but the old ad works because you can still find her there.
Yes, thank you.
So you can still find her there. So it's in there. So that's why I want to play it because it's Christmas time. Here's some more gift ideas. So listen to the ad and go look her up and look at her products. Anyway, this is the Paradigm Shift on the Cerberus Radio Network, defending liberty and freedom from of tyranny.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of the dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pine.
Looking for a new custom camo dress or scarf? Tail Gunner Apparel. Looking for bath and body products for women and men? Tail Gunner Apparel. Looking for bed scarves and custom home products? Tail Gunner Apparel. Look awesome and feel even better. Tail Gunner Apparel on Facebook or at tailgunnerapparel.etsy.com. That's tailgunnerapparel.etsy.com.
Made love and then you cried, remember when?
Cerberus Radio Network, protecting liberty and freedom from the flames of tyranny.
Well, welcome back to the Paradigm Shift. This is your host, Jeff Johnson. And lurking in the background is our good friend, Suzanne Sherman. Suzanne, I'm going to have you have you come back up. I'm going to do something I had no intention of doing, and that break just brought it to mind. Because of the song that was at the end. I'm going to ask you in a second. I'll ask you now so you can think about this. Do you, holiday movies, do you have one that is a family tradition? One you watch every year? It is, and I haven't done it yet this year. I have not watched it, but I will very, very soon. I always, every year, watch White Christmas. That is my holiday tradition. I love Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye. They were wonderful together. They did a lot of movies together, and just loved Bing Crosby's voice. He was a crooner, they say. So that's one of my holiday traditions. Now I know at the other Johnson family residence, my brother's house, one of their traditions. I know there's two, and actually there are two here as well. But the one they watch every year is Elf. They love Elf. It is a silly movie. So, Suzanne, I don't know. Are you still there? I see your mic's still muted, so I'm not sure if you're back or not. I guess not. So anyway, it's just interesting how we have family traditions. There's certain things we do year after year. And some of these Christmas movies are part of those traditions. And if Suzanne was back, I'd see what her family tradition is. But since she's not, maybe she'll pop back in a bit. I was going to get into this the other day. I'll get back into some of the other anti-federalists on another day. I printed this out, and it turned out to be 36 pages long, this part here, because in actuality what it is they've taken the ratification debates and so this is going to jump around. It's going to go to Madison, and it's going to go to Mason, and it's going to go to a bunch of different people at the Virginia ratification debates. but what I'm going to start off with is a speech by Patrick Henry. Most of you out there think of "Give me liberty or give me death." That's it. That's all there is to it. Henry is those "give me liberty" or "give me death." Those 7 words. That is the sum total of Patrick Henry. That's, you know why? Because that's what they teach in the public school, in the government indoctrination camps. They only teach those 7 words. That's all. That's his sum total. Patrick Henry's life is a very, and you know what? I'm going to share a book that Mike Church put together and from the Veritas Radio Network, and it's a very good. It's a book on Patrick Henry. Very, very, very good read. It really explains his life, and it's a wonderful read. I enjoyed it thoroughly. He has one on. I believe there's one on John Taylor Caroline as well. I don't remember. I'm gonna have to look. I'll have to look and see if and that's another unknown, pretty much. Yes, I'm sorry.
I actually have that one. It's right here in front of me. And Mike
Which
Church,
one? The
Mike Church presents, John Taylor, an argument respecting the constitutionality of the carriage tax. And
okay.
It's a little booklet, and it explains. It's a chapter. You know what we'll do is review it and go over that and do a show about some of these things. But yes, there is one, and another one that Mike did is I think he rewrote with Brian McClanahan was Jefferson Davis, a traitor, and they did that. They revamped, I guess, from Albert Taylor Bledsoe. Anyway, continue. I just wanted to mention that.
Yes. No, since you are back, I don't think you heard with me coming back from the break. I played White Christmas at the end of that break. And I was saying that it's interesting how people have family traditions. Now, I haven't yet watched it this year, but the family tradition here at this household is to watch White Christmas every year, and I do every year. I can't remember a year I haven't watched White Christmas. Now, my brother's household, and it's kind of humorous, we both have 2 movies we watch every year, but there's one that is in particular White Christmas, and then at my brother Jason's house, they watch Elf every year. They love Elf. It's a silly movie, but for some reason they love it. And actually in both houses, there's actually 2 movies. We also watch It's a Wonderful Life. Suzanne, at the Sherman household, is there a traditional Christmas movie you watch every
year without fail? A Christmas Story.
Okay.
And I started watching that when my boys were Ralphie and Randy's age, and through the years now they've done grown up, and I watched Christmas Story when it first came out, but that's something every year I scramble to find the DVD. I can never find it. I have to buy another copy every year. I'm hoping we can stream it this time, but I love it. It never gets old.
Right, and it's just interesting. I just wanted to ask.
Oh, by the way, now they say it's racist.
But it is. I mean, I just take a little break from all the, the craziness of politics this time of year. I like just to break it up and have a little fun. That's why I opened with the prepper stuff, and that's why I mean the gifts, and again today, just to break it up, because I knew I was going to get onto that rant with the natural rights, and I knew I was going to go off. Oh yeah, because I really am getting. It is getting frustrating trying to deal with people on that. So anyway, it is fun. I know that, like I said, there's 2. I always watch White Christmas, and I from a teenager, I watched that. So, and I'm 55 now, so that's a lot of years I've watched White Christmas, and it's just every year. I mean, without fail, I just like I said. Bing Crosby's voice, it's just his crooning. It's just iconic. I mean, I watched. You're old enough to remember the Bing Crosby Christmas specials, even on TV. Just loved watching Bing Crosby. Oh yeah, I know. We're both. I know. We barely remember those. I know. So because I know that's right. I forgot. You're only 39. I forgot. You're much younger than me.
Yeah. Thank God for YouTube.
So, and then another one, like I said, we watch 2 every year. It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart is that is really, truly one of the iconic Christmas movies for generations. I mean, that's an old film. It's black and white. But that is so iconic. And I just heard on the radio the other day, they have a It's a Wonderful Life, like a get-together, convention. And the surviving children from the show, Zuzu and Tommy, and there's one other, they come to this thing and they get this It's a Wonderful Life get-together. It's right around Christmas every year. They still get together. And then the young Violet is still alive. And so she comes. There's like 3 or 4 of them that are still alive from that movie, which that means they must be very, very old, because I don't know what year that was. Was that 40s, maybe 1940s? I don't remember. It's an old film. So anyway, enough of that. Let's see. We have it's 42. I'll go to 45. I'll start off with this because I'm going to stop almost immediately as soon as I start reading this. This is from a speech by Patrick Henry, and this is going to be from Saturday, June 16, 1788. And this is in the ratification debates in Virginia. Some of the most important documents you'll ever read are the ratification debates. If you want to know what the framers were doing and thinking, go back and buy the books that have basically the record of the convention, the Philadelphia Convention. It was secret. None of that was posted before. And I have a problem with that too. The fact that they did all this in secret. No one outside knew what was going on. It was all done in secret. No one could report to the people what was going on, that they were actually considering something other than amending the Articles of Confederation. And Rhode Island left because they weren't doing what they were there to do, to amend the Articles of Confederation. Or was it New Hampshire left? I can't remember. I'll remember later. It's New Hampshire or Rhode Island. It was one of those really small states. They ended up leaving because they were doing something completely different that they weren't even there charged to do. And they said that they aren't there to do that. They weren't charged by the people to make up a new government. They were there to amend what they had. So anyway, this is from June 16th.
Union, right?
Yes, that's what we ended up with. A forever indivisible union is what we ended up with.
Under God.
Under God.
Million dead babies unavailable for comment. Okay, I'll be quiet. It's your show.
That's okay. So, and so what you're going to hear is because this is from the ratification debates, and it's the secretary basically recording this. So you're going to get the secretary interjecting here before Henry's speech. So he says, Mr. Henry thought it necessary and proper that they should take a collective view of this whole section to the first clause. He adverted to the clause which gives Congress the power of raising armies and proceeded as follows, semicolon. So you're getting, that's one thing great about the ratification debates. You're getting all the perspective. You're getting the perspective of what the secretary is writing down, because what these people were talking about. Then you get the actual words, what they're saying. So Henry now speaking. To me, this appears a very alarming power when unlimited. They are not only to raise, but to support armies, and this support is to go to the utmost abilities of the United States. If Congress shall say that the general welfare requires it, they may keep armies continually on foot. Name a time since the ratification that this government has not kept an army on foot. Suzanne, can you name a time?
No.
I guess that's okay. I was going to say, I didn't think you could, because I kept, because from almost immediately, from the day it was instituted, just about to present day, we have had a standing army.
They did not want to.
What did Washington do almost immediately
upon
ratification of the president?
Whiskey Rebellion.
You know what it is.
Yeah, the Whiskey Rebellion, and he was supposed to get an invitation from the governor of Pennsylvania to come in. He had no such invitation. I've actually heard a very respected historian defend his actions, saying he was enforcing a federal statute and he didn't need the governor's permission, and that's not correct. Sometimes even the best and the brightest, I don't agree with, because the threshold inquiry has to be, well, was that federal statute constitutional? Now, what we know is as taxes were supposed to be imposed upon the states in a uniform manner. So to impose a tax on carriages was in contravention to the Constitution. So the federal statute was in effect null and void, according to the Jeffersonian philosophy and Madisonian as well. So he had no authority, in my opinion, to do such a thing, and they feared a standing army in times of peace. So how do we get around that? Well, it's just never in a time of peace. I've got freedoms in Niger that are being defended right now. And oh, by the way, we're going to have a discussion in my show. Did you see that link on what's his name, Milo Yiannopoulos, the degenerate, about somebody kicking a chair out from another student who didn't stand for the pledge? Yes. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in my show. So
yes, we're talking about that. We'll talk about that. We won't even get to that now. We'll wait for your show. We had a back and forth on that in private chat. So anyway, just about the second the ink was dry on this new Constitution, they created a standing army, and they did. And Washington had no trouble unconstitutionally sending him into a state to put down the the natural rights of those people in the state of Pennsylvania. So immediately, the framers and the founders had a pretty good idea where this was all going. And what's his first words on this? They're going to have an army underfoot forever. And today we have armies all over the world. As Suzanne said, we have them in Niger. Why do we have them in Niger? When did we declare war on Niger? Why do we had not long ago, we had some Green Berets, I believe they were Green Berets, that were killed there in battle. So Henry was very correct right off the bat with this speech here. Okay. There is no control on Congress in raising or in stationing them. We now have our armies in somewhere close to 100 nations of the world. Probably almost 2/3 of the nations of the world. We have our armies stationed there. And we spend about $1 trillion a year just on defense to station armies all over the world. Why are we spending trillions? We're 20 trillion in debt. I get this all the time. Well, we got to kill them there, but we'll be killing them here. Well, if we weren't there, they probably wouldn't care about us here. Think about Afghanistan before we were there. What did they mainly do? They killed each other. They hate each other just more than they hate us. If we weren't over there killing them now, they would stop working together and they'd start killing each other again. They don't really care that much about us. That's just the propaganda that, they want to kill us here. Well, that's because we're there killing them. We're killing their wives and their kids over there. We're dropping bombs on weddings or whatever. If we would just stop being the world policeman and worry about our own economy and our own lives, you know what? I bet you there'd be a lot of people working. There would be very little poverty. There'd be very little unemployment because people would be living and let live. And we wouldn't be all over the world. But we are. We spend $1 trillion. But I always ask this. We're 20 trillion in debt now. When the debt bomb explodes here and our economy crashes, and we can't spend $1 trillion a year on defense, how much of this empire are we going to maintain? And how much defense are we going to have here to defend ourselves when there's no money left for any of it. Let's rewind a little bit. Let's take our armies and come home a little, and for a while, let everyone else. Can Germany defend itself? Certainly. So why do we have a massive army in Germany? To defend them from Russia? Why do we have massive armies in England? Can England defend itself? Most certainly they can.
Hey, Jeff?
Yes.
If you think about how thin our military is spread throughout the world right now, and how tired the forces are as well. Some of them are being deployed for the 6th time. New recruits aren't coming in as quickly, as anticipated, be that as it may. How often these guys are going out again and again and again and again. And we just have to think, is there a reason for this? Remember now, again, I like to tie in these globalists and what they say even years ago. Henry Kissinger said there will come a time when Americans will welcome the United Nations forces onto their territory to restore peace.
Well, I don't think we're far. Yeah, I don't think we're too far off from that.
The United Nations is already reviewing, questions of human rights violations here, while Saudi Arabia is on some women's rights panel. The whole thing's just an absolute mockery of our sovereignty and common sense in general. Anyway, I just had to throw that in.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm not going to even get very far into Henry's speech today. Just simply because we're going to cut off short in just, let's see, it's 54. In about 30 seconds, I'm going to start the music, and then about 2 minutes of the show is going to end, and then I'm going to start producing Suzanne's show at 10 a.m. Eastern. So, folks, stay tuned. If you're listening on Radio Coast, you stay on. There'll be a short part where it's going to replay part of my old show, and then it'll pick up with Suzanne's show live at 10 a.m. So we're getting very close to the end of the show. So there will be no control in Congress in raising and stationing him. They have authority and a most dangerous power. Its principles are despotic. If it be unbounded, it must lead to despotism. For the power of a people in a free government is supposed to be paramount to the existing power. So what are you saying? And I'm going to, hold on, I'm going to reach down here because I'm already past due. I'm going to start the music in the background. And it's going to play for 3 minutes and 30 seconds in the background. When it ends, the show is over. Anyway, so what he's saying is that if we're going to give these folks this power to have armies all over the world, it's going to become despotic. I mean, today, think about it. Can you start a business without going to government and begging permission? You want to cut hair? You want to be a barber? You want to be a beautician? What do you need? You need their permission. You need to pay them a fee to do your job. If you want to be, do something. If you want to be a paramedic or an EMT, what do you have to do? You have to jump through the government's hoops. I was a paramedic for 11 years. I'm not currently able to be a paramedic because I've let my certifications go out because the government has control over it. All the knowledge is still here. I still know all the stuff I knew then, but I can't do the job because government controls it. Because, the public safety. So we live in the despotism that Henry warned about. Suzanne, did you want to mention something before we go? Because we are about 2 minutes.
See you in a few minutes.
What's that? Oh, okay. See you in a few minutes. I didn't know if you wanted to jump in on the end of this here. I'm going to get into Patrick Henry, and that's in the speech. And actually, what I'll do is I'm just going to, it's 36 pages, so it's going to take a while. I'm going to read that whole day's stuff because it's going to be Madison and a whole bunch of other people. And you're going to see a whole bunch of different views. You'll see Madison, who was in favor. So it'll give you a little bit of a insight into the debates of that day over the Constitution. And what I say today is that we are living the problems that they created then. Madison and them created then, Henry warned of, and here we are. This looking at, again, just in this first paragraph, the standing army and the problems that we have today with being so far in debt. I mean, we spent $5 trillion in the last few decade or so just on these wars that were never declared, which are supposed to be declared. Oh, well. Well, this is the paradigm shift. I'll let the music play out. I'll have to get everything ready for Suzanne's show. We'll be back at 10 a.m. with Suzanne's show, the paradigm shift. Thank you for listening. Merry Christmas, everyone. We'll probably do some more lighter shows if we do some more shows next week. Have a good day, and I'll see you all in just a few minutes.